Look, the VR scene has been a mess over the last few months, to put it lightly. A lot got revealed, new headsets got leaked, new updates got launched, major VR companies are cutting staff. I'm just gonna wrap up exactly what you need to know right now if you own a Quest 2 or a Quest 3 and what exactly affects you. Short answer, we're cooked. Long answer, okay, so what is happening? First, before I list all of the new Quest changes, the new headset leaks, and the new game reveals, I really just have to give you some perspective on the current VR landscape here. VR Chat just announced that they're cutting 30% of their entire staff. The CEO of VR Chat, Graham Gaylor, stated that they're in a good cash position, but to execute effectively on their strategy going forward for the next 5 years or so, they need to extend their runway, and they're doing that by increasing their profitability, and that's resulted in them cutting about 30% of their staff. This is pretty nuts for such a quote-unquote successful VR title. A huge chunk of those of you watching have probably played VR Chat at least once, and this is arguably one of the most well-known and one of the best performing VR titles of all time. And they're losing 30% of their staff. That's how bad the VR scene sucks right now. The VR market for headsets, developers, accessory makers, it's incredibly volatile. Meta went from hitting record low revenue to record high revenue, but with record high costs, and then back to record low revenue, and then back to record high revenue. You get the picture. Even for what from the outside looks like successful products, the volatility of this space puts immense stress on developers from a business standpoint. Pointed out by user QDot on Twitter, VR Chat and many other developers like Rec Room, for example, are very reliant on outside funding through venture capitalists. You can see here that from 2016 to 2021, VR Chat received nearly $100 million in funding from venture capitalists. So much of the VR industry is run on this style of funding at the moment. VCs investing in these companies in anticipation of potential future value when VR picks up steam and hits a mainstream audience, rather than relying on the money generated through their actual product sales right now. Many, and I mean many, of the games that you see right now as top sellers on the Quest store aren't even breaking even. This is particularly tough when we've had some of the best VR releases of all time in just the last few months. Underdogs, Veil VR, Contractors Showdown all came out in the last few months and are easily some of the best VR games of all time, but getting anyone to care is a very tough task when the flow of users into the VR space is so sparse right now. When a big title like VR Chat has to cut 30% of their staff, what does this mean for everybody else? Quite frankly, it's fucking cooked, but why? I think many of you have probably not noticed the Quest 3's marketing campaign, because it basically doesn't fucking exist. To be clear, there are some ads here and there, but most of it revolves around them lying about features that don't exist yet or misrepresenting current features, and then trying to produce ads that compete with the Apple Vision Pro in workspace content, which is kind of ridiculous given how gaming is still VR's #1 selling point and the Apple Vision Pro isn't even selling well anyway. So why isn't Meta properly pushing the Quest 3? Meta lost a lot of money developing and marketing the Quest Pro. It was a monumental commercial failure. Yes, many of those features made their way into the Quest 3, and from a hardware standpoint, it was an important headset in the path to get where we are now, but from an immediate consumer standpoint, it sucked, and you couldn't wear it for longer than 10 minutes because of its brain-dead head strap design that crushed your forehead into atoms. If you don't agree with me there, and you actually like the Quest Pro, here's what John Carmack has to say about it, the former CTO of Oculus/Meta. He actually recently publicly admitted to trying to kill the Quest Pro because he knew it would fail. The $500 deduction in price 4 months after its launch, and then subsequent discontinuation a year after its launch, was representative of its failure enough. He said that he tried hard to kill the Quest Pro completely, and had a very high confidence that it would be a commercial failure and distract their teams for a year, preventing them from doing more valuable work on headsets that were actually mass marketable. This headset nuked the momentum of the VR scene for the whole front end of 2023, as Meta had now no new flagship headset to push besides the 3-year-old Quest 2, which they knew they'd be replacing in October of 2023 with the Quest 3, and were now stuck with this Pro headset that they had launched that nobody is buying. So they opted to just continue pushing the Quest 2 through 2023, and then released the Quest 3 in October of 2023 for $500. And currently, the Quest 3 is selling okay. Definitely not Quest 2 levels of mainstream popularity like in 2021. That $300 price point is hard to beat. and Meta are clearly still trying to hold on to the Quest 2 for the time being. They're unable to fully commit to pushing the Quest 3, so we're stuck here in this limbo where neither headset is selling all that well. The Quest 2 is too dated, and the Quest 3 in comparison is too much money for the average consumer who's not yet sold on VR. Couple this with a near non-existent marketing campaign for either headset, and we're left with this barren wasteland that is the current VR space. Until Meta's number one objective right now is to reclaim the momentum that they once had with the Quest 2 in 2021 and 2022. To do this, they need a headset to hit, in their words, the most attractive price point in the VR consumer market. And they're determined that to be about $199, according to leaks showing that the 64GB version of this new headset will be $199, and the 128GB version will sit at the Quest 2's current $300, and the 256GB version at $400. The headset, if you haven't watched my previous video covering the older leaks, is basically what it sounds like. It's a Quest 3 Lite. It has the same Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 chip as the Quest 3. It will be capable of running the same games at the same level of quality as the Quest 3, but with, by the looks of it, worse lenses and a lack of mixed reality features. Recently, the Quest 3S was actually just spotted in the background of Meta's CTO Andrew Bosworth's video that was intended to show off the reduction in pass-through distortion in Update v66. Bosworth even acknowledged people spotting it. It also basically confirms that these leaks that we got a few months ago are actually accurate, as the headset looks very similar to the previous Zoom leaks that presented concept marketing material for it. This headset will be monumentally important for this space. VR viewership, VR game sales, and new users are dwindling fast. Companies are crumbling. We need this headset now. But it looks as if the headset will get a reveal at this year's Meta Connect. Zuckerberg confirmed that this year's event's date to be September 25th to September 26th. I'm expecting a Quest 3S reveal, followed by probably a release in October. Will the VR scene survive until then, with a near total lack of any marketing from Meta for the Quest 3 or Quest 2? Time will tell. But in the meantime, I'm about to speedrun all of the major VR announcements from the last couple of months. Before I do so, I need money for my engine that I blew up, so like and subscribe will go an EJ25 lengths way to keeping me from going bankrupt. I also have a Patreon at patreon.com/GetHip where you can get exclusive content. Thank you so much everyone that supported me on there. And I have a Discord at discord.gg/GetHip. Anyway, Palmer Luckey, the founder of Oculus, the man who started it all in 2012, who was then fired in 2017 after Facebook acquired the company. The reasoning why Palmer Luckey was fired has remained spotty, but after some Twitter beef between Palmer Luckey and Andrew Bosworth back in April, it seems pretty clear that it's all politically motivated. Also, it's worth mentioning that Bosworth got absolutely nuked on this thread. He was the guy, by the way, that shut down Echo VR because he's bold and hates fun. Anyway, the point I'm making here is that Luckey has announced that he will be announcing his own new VR headset at AWE this month. AWE is actually happening as I'm recording this video, and so far Luckey has announced that the headset will be military focused, but average consumers will also be able to purchase the headset if they wish. This is a big deal. Coming from the man who founded Oculus, the man who revealed the touch controllers on stage, the man who literally paved the way to everything that Facebook now tries to claim as their own, him revealing a new VR headset of his own is big. And while I don't think that this will be a Quest competitor, at least we'll have a new strong force in the VR scene that's not just Meta. Pico failed as a competitor. In fact, funnily enough, Just Dance VR, which was intended to be a Pico exclusive, has now just been revealed as a Quest 3 exclusive after, I assume, financial trouble, as the company is currently facing major layoffs. So the Facebook VR monopoly continues. Valve also seems to be out of the race for now, as leaks for their next headset have been on and off. And so far, we've had no official info from Valve. Important reminder, the Index is now 5 years old, so a true competitor to the Quest is desperately needed, or we are sleepwalking into a Ready Player One reality where IOI Interactive won. Anyway, speaking of these balding lizard people with, let's be honest, pretty great VR headset, the Quest 3 has continued to receive updates. Most recently, Update v66, which massively reduces mixed reality distortion, something that's easily been one of the biggest hindrances with mixed reality usage so far on the headset. You can see here the monumental leap in quality between v65 and v66. This comes after Update v64 improved the overall pass-through quality. So pass-through on this headset is now pretty looking good. It's significantly better than launch and much closer to the false marketing material that Meta marketed the headset with. It should have shipped like that rather than, you know, like lying, but whatever, go ride your foil board in the middle of whatever the f this is, you dickhead. Batman Arkham Shadow got revealed and then subsequently met with major online hatred, just like with what happened with Half-Life Alyx back in 2019 when that was revealed. Taking an existing popular flat screen IP and making a VR title out of it tends to upset people. Part of what made this worse was that basically none of the thumbnails revealing this game had any disclosure that it was a VR game. For all anyone clicking these videos knew, this was a new Arkham game. The IGN trailer alone racked up 1.8 million upset views. And honestly, I don't blame most of these people for being upset. After the disaster and monumental slap in the face that was Suicide Squad, Arkham fans are feeling pretty burnt at the moment. To make matters worse, this is a Quest 3 exclusive. The Quest 2 is still being sold and at a discounted price, and it's still the most used VR headset by a significant margin. So a lot of people are feeling rubbed the wrong way by this. Obviously, most of the hate is just from flat screen gamers that still don't take VR seriously, and with the lack of any real Quest 3 push from Meta, I kind of don't blame them. It's not even their fault that they don't believe in the hardware when Meta aren't doing anything to make them believe. Sure, a fully funded Batman Arkham VR game is a major step in the right direction for the platform. This is being developed by Camouflage, the team behind Iron Man VR, which was fucking awesome. Screenshots so far look great, besides this one, which looks to show some sort of quick time event style combat that makes me want to violently vomit. I haven't played it yet, so I can't judge, but I'm going to anyway. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Alongside the announcement for Arkham Shadow, we also got one for an Aliens VR game titled Alien Rogue Incursion, which is developed by Servios, the team behind absolute OG VR classics like Raw Data and Sprint Vector and Creed Rise to Glory. It's set to launch holiday 2024, but unlike Arkham Shadow, this isn't a Quest 3 exclusive. It's on the Quest 3, but it's also launching on PSVR 2 and PCVR via Steam. But it's still not available on the Quest 2. Something we'll likely see from more and more games as the Quest 2 is getting phased out. That is what's happening. Tell me below, if you're a Quest 2 user, will you be buying a Quest 3S or will you be jumping straight to the Quest 3? Or do you just not give a shit about VR at all right now because you're tired of being mistreated by a bald bloke and this lizard in Paris?